Hi all, in this video let's learn about JavaScript logical operators. So these are the four logical operators of JavaScript: logical or, logical and, not operator, and nullish collision operator with double question marks. So firstly, we'll try to understand how this operator works, and next thing we'll discuss how it will be returning when you assign them to an assignment operator, when you assign them to an in an if conditions. So let's go one by one. So this is a logical OR operator. If you see these four statements, so any of the value, any of the operand is true, then the result set would be the true. Okay, if this is true or this is true, any of the one. So now it is false, it is true. Now it will return true. So this is how it works. So only in the case both are false, then it results false. So this is about the logical or basic thing. So now come to the thing is like whenever you have a conditions like this, if you're trying to assign some value like this, okay, you have three booleans, three operands like this. So the what this logical or all these logical operators does is, firstly they will take this operand. If this operand is not a boolean value, then it will convert that into the respective boolean value, and then it will do the evaluation. So this is what these logical operators does. So what happens if you have a condition like this? So let me show you. So the first truthy value will be returned. I have wrote the statement, of course, at the first. The first truthy value would be returned. So let's check that with an example. For example, if I take let x is equal to, so 1. 1 is a truthy value, 2 is also the truthy value, and 3. So now if I give like this, in the x, what value will be given? What value will be assigned to the x variable is the first truthy value. So let's check that. Okay, so I will click this. Now if I print x, it returns 1. So it means the first truthy value would be assigned to the x variable. Why so? Because here, as this is a logical OR operator, if any one this is true, obviously no need to check other operands. Anyways, this operand results it would be the true. So that's the reason. Once it is true, the first truthy value is true, then this execution will be stopped. It will not check the other operands. It will assign this value to the result. So this is like when you use an assignment like this. For example, the same thing if you're trying to use for the if statements like this. So then nothing will be assigned to anyone. So only it would be evaluated whether the value is true or not. So now this is evaluated as a true. Then it will not check rest of the operands. Directly it will go inside the if loop. So if block. So this is the one we need to understand. This is not only for the logical or, the same applies to the logical and as well. So let's check how it works for the logical and operator. So logical and. So this, in this case, if both the operands are true, then only the result set would be true. If any of the value is false, then the result set becomes a false. So in this case, what happens? For example, if you have a result set like this, so let's take one more example here. So I will take let y is equal to 1. Logical operator means it's like two ampersands, two symbols ampersands. So now what value will be present in the y? So whereas coming to the logical operator, logical and, so if I click enter, if I click y, so in the y you have 0. The reason behind this is, so firstly 1, it means a truthy value. So now it needs to check the second value. So now it goes to the second value. As this value is 0, this value will be assigned to the y. So in short, if you are using logical and operator, if the result, if the first result is false, it will stop the execution and it will return the value. It will return the original value. Okay. Whereas if now here it is true, that's the reason it is trying to evaluate the other operand. As this is false, this value would be assigned to the y. So this is like opposite to the what we have done for the logical or operator. Here you can understand, if you get something like this, it means the first operand is truthy. If the first operand is true, irrespective of whether it is true or false, the AND operand will return these values. So that is this statement. So if it is true, then what we need to do, we need to evaluate this value, right? And by evaluating this value, we will not get anything, because if it is true or if it is false, the value here it will be having 0, the value 2 it will be having 5. So coming to the falsy values, there is one condition like this. If the first operand is false, then it will stop the execution. Whereas in the logical, the same will be for the logical or also. If you get true here, you're not evaluating these operands, right? In a similar way, if you get false or falsy values here, then it will stop the execution here itself. It will ignore the second operand. It will not consider this. As this is false, it no need to check the other values because obviously these values also become false. Even that is a truthy value. So that's the reason the second operand is ignored. And this first value would be returned in the value 3. So this is what happens. So here if you see 0 is a null value, I mean falsy value. So that's the reason 0 would be assigned. And a string like this is a truthy value, even though the 0 would be returned. So this happens. So for example, if you have something like this, how we are going to evaluate this? So one, this is truthy. So now you will go to the second operand. Now this is also truthy. So now you will check this operand. At this point, this is false. It means the logical AND operator, it will stop the execution at this point, and this null value would be returned back. Whereas coming to if you use the same operation, same conditions in the if blocks, then the end result would be considered. Here, whenever this is false, the return false operand would be assigned to value 5. If you are using the same for the if block condition, it will consider the overall result, whether it is true or whether it is false, that it will be considering. So that's the reason. Now for this, it will return the false value. If you are using the same for the if block. Here see, if it is true, it will go to the 2, and 2 also true, then it will go to the 3, and 3 is also true. That's the reason it will return back the 3 in here. So this is how this logical AND operator and the logical OR operator also works. They work in this way. So if you are using the assignment operator, it will return like this. If you're using in the if block, entire condition is evaluated, and then it will consider whether this value is true or not, true or false. Based on this condition, the if block will go inside the if block or not. So that would be the execution point. So there is one more important point we need to consider: the precedence, like the priority. You can see this as a priority. The priority for the logical AND operator would be more when compared to the OR operator. So that's the reason whenever you see this type of conditions, so consider them like this is very much equivalent to like this. Okay, because AND operator has a high priority than the logical OR operator. We need to keep this statement in mind. So whenever you see something like this, you need to consider them like this, and you can evaluate them accordingly. So the third logical operator is not. So what does this not exactly do? It will convert this Boolean value. So it will convert this operand like this value. It will convert into Boolean, and it will reverse the value. So for example, if you have true, okay, then not true means it returns a false value. It will reverse the value. So in a similar way, if you have something like not 0, so now this 0, first this 0 is converted into the Boolean value. 0 means false. First this 0 value is converted into the Boolean value, and then when you give this not, then again it will reverse, it returns the in reverse value. Instance 0 is false, and not 0 means it returns true. So this is what we'll be getting. So this is how you need to use this not operator. So coming to the nullish operator, so two question marks. So in what situations we can use these operator? It means like if A is not null and if A is not undefined, then this result will come as A. If A is null or if A is undefined, then B would be returned back. So this is about the normal statement. So how we can simplify this type of statements? So like you can simplify this type of statements just in single line like this. So you can give A question mark B. So this is very much similar to the above line. This is equivalent to the above line. So it will check whether A is not null, A is not undefined, then A would be assigned. If A is null or A is undefined, then B would be assigned. So this is what the thing happened for the nullish operator. So what is a common use case for this nullish operator is like, so for example, if I have an user, let user is, so now I want to check the username is equal to user and two question marks. Now I'm using this as an nullish operator and the guest user. So now as user is not defined. So now what value you will be having here? You will be having undefined. So user is not equal to undefined. It will check inside here this. So as it is equal to undefined, you will be getting as a guest user as a output into the username. The main advantage or use case of this nullish operator is that if you have any value is not defined or undefined, then you are providing a default value to that variable. Instead of assigning a undefined or not defined values to this username variable, you are now meaningfully providing a value which is a default value you are providing in case username is not provided. For example, if the username is provided like something like Suresh, so now, okay, now what happens if I give the username is equal to username, the same statement. Okay, now as you have username is already existing. So as you have username, so now it will take the username because username is exist. The username is not exist or not defined, then in this case you are providing an default value. So this is a common use case for using this nullish operator. Instead of that, also you can use this nullish operator like that. Instead of checking whether the value provided value is not null, provided value is not undefined, instead of doing double checks with this, you can directly do a check like this. So this is all about all the JavaScript logical operators. Hope you understand the video. Thanks for watching.